Hello, hello, hello. Out there in YouTube land, all of my melanin brothers and sisters, my family. Oh man, this is gonna be a crazy video right here. It's gonna be a crazy video, but bear with me, bear with me. Last night, I don't know if it was a dream or not. Kinda was asleep, kinda wasn't. Um, but I was given a story, all right, last night. And as I was given a story, I was picturing it in my mind. And I want to share that story with you. And all day today, I have been thinking about this story and trying to relate it to current theories that are developing right now today. News today, current theories today. And I don't know if this is considered a prophecy, because usually prophecies are seeing something in the future, and this was given to me about the past. So saying that before. And outside or inside prophecy, I don't know. You just take the story for whatever it means to you. All right? So, imagine this. A long, long, long time ago, trillions, trillions, of billions, of trillions years ago, in a time of really no time, okay? There existed this big golden light of energy. A big golden light of energy. As far as the eye could see, it was gold light. Up, down, round, everywhere. Bright, bright gold light. And it existed for, once again, we're in a land of no time, but for thousands of years, okay? It was this energy. And it vibrated, okay, with communication. That's what the vibration was, okay? The ability to communicate also, okay? And so this light existed, and in existence, it learned to appreciate its own life, being living, and it loved its own life, and it was grateful, and it was peaceful. All of these positive things developed inside this gold light for a long time. It was took place, and after a while, this light wanted to know what it felt like to have the experience of not thinking about love and joy and happiness and everything like that. So it took a rest. It just, took a rest. And when it awoke, it still had all the memories of the love and the peace and the gratefulness and the harmony, all the positive words you could think of, because it was in there for a long time. And it thought like, hey, it would be nice to share all of these good feelings. So it decided to make another light inside its light. Because everywhere you see it, it's its light. So it was no place that this light didn't reach, the golden light didn't reach. So this other light was inside the golden light, okay? And you can name this other light gray light, black light, red light, doesn't matter. It's just not the golden light, okay? So it created this other light. I'm going to say black light. And in the development of this black light, it was showing it love and peace and happiness and gratefulness and just everything that it had learned and loved about itself. It wanted to show this other light. So it raised this light up in that environment. And then it got to the point to where it was pretty much big and knew all of these things. So the golden light wanted it to have an experience of being separate and having those feelings for itself, all of those loving feelings for itself, because the whole time it was only receiving those feelings. But the gold light knew how good it was to actually feel that way about itself. So it released the light, the black light, so it could love itself and appreciate itself and appreciate the golden light for every just total love and appreciation back and forth. Okay. And when it got out, it was loving and all of that, but it started creating envy and jealousy of this light always being happy and always being lovey, and you're always lovey and you're always happy and you're so damn bright, per se. Okay, this is translated in my own words of what I heard. Okay, so it started creating envy and all of that until it created hate. And so this gold light was like, no, I can't have that. So it had to overcome this black light. Overcame the black light, and it was all gold light again, and then it went into its rest again. And it awoke, and when it awoke, it still had all these memories, and the cycle started over, and it wanted to share these memories with something, and it created that and raised it in love and peace and happiness, and then it separated so it can love itself. The exact same thing happened. But this energy, the black energy, remembered that cycle, the first cycle. So when it separated, it didn't show its true colors. It didn't show its true colors. So now the gold light and the black light are just growing and sharing and talking and loving and everything. But deep down inside, the black light was jealous and envy and all of that, but it didn't show it. And then at one point, the black light said, gold light, I want to have the experience of creation. Like you created me, I want to create something and raise it in love and peace and happy, So the gold light gave permission for the black light to create, and it created a light in its own image, inside itself, Boom, boom, wow. But unknown to the gold light, because the black light was hiding those negative feelings, but it was teaching it, or the little black light was learning those negative feelings from the big black light that he had toward the gold light. It was raised in that negativity. And as it grew and grew and grew, it was time to separate and be by itself. And when it separated and was by itself, and the gold light, communicated with it, and realized that it was the negative, like evil and bad and all of that. And it was like, how did that happen? So to equalize that, the gold light created another little gold light, and these two lights merged in a battle between like good and evil, or bright light, gold light, black light, okay? And that these two lights were growing and living and intermingling with itself. The gold and black light was having a conversation like, how did this happen? You said, I raised you in love, I raised you in peace. You even was doing good this time, saying you love me back, and you was peaceful, and every time we communicated, everything seemed good. How did that happen? And he tried to, the black light tried to deny it for years and years, so it took a while. As this conversation was going on, this little energy that was created, part of the black energy and part of the white energy, to stabilize and equalize things, right? They were growing and living and just being around each other, and it was like, whoa, and neither one of them had power of creation. The only one had power of creation is the gold light. So part of the gold light went and talked to the main gold light and was like, look, in this little realm, we're going to call it a dimension, okay? For people that follow dimensions and worlds. So let me pause right there. We talked about energy being the gold light. It was a form of energy in a light form. And inside that energy of its creation and living, it created a frequency of love and peace and happiness. That was the frequency of that energy, okay? And because it could communicate, it has a vibration. So that's why you get vibration, frequency of an energy, the energy of this light. And since we'll get to that, and have that energy of the light, okay? So now we're back to this being a dimension. So I spoke on the people of theory of energy and frequency and vibration. Just touched on, okay? Now, I'm speaking and touching on dimensions. This little ball that was created with some gold light and some black light that had to be equalized and put together, this was a dimension, okay? So this gold light went back to the other gold light and asked the gold light to give it permission to create something so that they could entertain themselves with or watch or observe or manipulate, whatever the case may be. And so the gold light gave them permission to create a being in that dimension. And every time they create a being in a dimension, they give it a power, like extremely good knowledge. Extremely good knowledge in technology. Healers, being able to heal. Shapeshift and be full of deception. So they made a life form in this dimension, and let's say their power or gift was being very educated, smart in human, I mean not human biology, but biology, DNA and that kind of stuff, okay? All right? So while these two, the gold and the black light, was having the conversation, these two was here watching over this species that they had created, so they had something to do. So as this conversation was going on, the gold light at one point realized that this black light was really consumed with the negative stuff. None of the good stuff applied with him once again. So then he consumed the black light, and on this little dimension, it was consumed with gold light, and then it all went back together, and the light rested again. And then when it awoke, it started this process again. Now, every time this process starts, this second light, black light that was created, remembers, so the time that it takes to be figured out that it's still going through the same cycle is a little longer. So more of these little dimensions are created every time this burst goes and this get taken over and go back into the rest. They come back, and it's the first time they might have had one little dimension, and then the second time the black light might have had made it up to 4 dimensions before it was overtaken and started over. And then the next burst, it might have made it to 12 dimensions, that little dimensions that it made, children that it made, and they had to come together for equilibrium. So the gist of it is that's the dimension. So now in the last burst of or cycle of this gold light, starting this cycle and creating black light, letting it be by itself and thinking it's good and letting them create different dimensions, we are the youngest dimension that has been made in the last burst of this cycle. And in this dimension, once again, the cycle all the way to the dimension, but we are the youngest dimension out of all the dimensions, right? And we are in the cycle of this, that where the little gold light went and asked to create a species within this dimension so they can watch over and boom, the same thing. This time they created human on Earth in this dimension, all right? But for the first time ever in all the dimensions and all the creations and all the bursts that's been going on for however long, because this is happening in a place with no time, for the very first time, the gold light of creation allowed this gold light to create us with a little of his gold light of creation. Okay? So we as humans all hold or possess a little gold light of the gold light. Okay? So we have the power of creation, pretty much. And we're the only ones, the first ones out of everything that this has happened for. And so for people that believe in aliens and follow aliens, that's why we get so many aliens come to Earth. That's why you get all of that's going on. But let me get back to the story of how it relates back to Earth now. All right, so now we are in our dimension. Dimension is formed. Earth is formed. They're allowed to build a species called man, human on Earth. They build us and they make us, right? And they make us and they make a human with melanin skin on them, and they let them populate the Earth. And before they go, they tell them, look, you come from or are a part of the light. It is in you of creation. We made this whole thing for you. We're going to let you live in free will. Free will, your whole mind. We can do whatever we think of and we create. The thought of consciousness, we bring into consciousness with our thoughts because we have the power of creation, okay? So, I'm going to have to stop this and make a part B. So, right now, we're bringing it down to how all of this brings it to Earth. So, it relates to everything, all right? Watch part 2.